Welcome to Castle Combe for rounds 11, 12 and 13 of the Toyo Tires Porsche Championship. Pip Hammond is leading the 924 Championship. He's in pole position in class. And Ed Hayes leading the championship overall in the Boxsters and second on the grid. Ed, conditions are a little bit slippery at the moment, a little bit uncertain. What can you do for the race?
Just try and have a good clean race. There's 4 of us, 5 of us, probably sort of similar area. So I think this one's going to be really tight. James has not been here for a while, probably only once this season, and he's come back, he's stuck a lap in like that and then pulled in the pits and sat out the rest of qualifying, so clearly got a lot of pace.
And with that kind of speed, who knows what he's capable of. Jake Sanson here up in the commentary box with Coleman and Hayes on the front row. Richard Avery and Adam Southgate are on the second. Gary Lawrence is alongside Nick Hull on row 3 with Kevin Molyneux beside Andrew Porter. Angus Archer is the 9th man in with Pip Hammond and Gavin Johnson sharing the front row of the 924 class. Ryan Lowry and Bernie Printy, Richard Matthews and Jamie Callender from Hugh Pert and Andrew Pritchard with the lone production runner Matthew Harris. Let's go at Castle Combe. Great start from the second row. That's going to be Richard Avery straight through into the lead as Coleman bogs down. So too does Ed Hayes. We've got Callender in the middle there. One side we've got Matthews. On the other side that looks like Ryan Lowry has made a poor start. Callender makes his way out of volley down through Avon Rise. We're on board with Nick Hull as they get to quarry for the first time. Ed Hayes trying to hang on in front of Adam Southgate as Coleman loses the car and slides into the side of Lawrence. They both go off. They've both gone. Is Lawrence going to spin it? Yes, he does. Coleman does likewise. Porter has to slow to a complete stop to avoid smacking the side of Lawrence. What a dramatic first quarry that was. One of the toughest corners in British motorsport here at Castle Combe, and already drama. Down to the S's goes Porter, trying to catch up with Richard Matthews, but he would have got a nasty scare from that one. As a result of that, Richard Avery now leads. Ed Hayes in second. Southgate is in third position. Fourth place, that's Nick Hull in front of Kevin Molyneux. And then we've got Angus Archer trying to close up with, I'm afraid to say, it looks as though poor James Coleman and Gary Lawrence have fallen right to the back of the queue, trying to recover. There's the 47 of Richard Matthews, chasing down one of the Boxsters. That is Andrew Porter in the 33, who obviously got held up and impeded by that spin. Now we're on board with Ed Hayes, running in second position after the fast-charging Richard Avery, who made that lightning bolt getaway from the second row. They go through Folly, up to Avon Rise, side by side. Hayes has got a good run. He's not quite alongside, but he is going to get there as they go through the blip. Up to Quarry Corner. Can he go round the outside of Quarry? That's going to be a really brave move if he could pull that off. He doesn't. He has to hang back, but as a result, Southgate's now got a run on him. They go over the patch of dirt that's been left on the racetrack after that double spin from Lawrence and Coleman. And they work their way through the S's for the second time, out through Old Paddock Bend and down towards Tower. Southgate very close to Ed Hayes, and Richard Avery hoping to take his first win of the season out in front. Hull and Molyneux are having a cracking battle, and in sixth place Angus Archer. Looks to me as though things are as you were in the 924s, with Hammond and Johnson still looking strong out front. But it looks good for Richard Avery, doesn't it? On this tight and twisty circuit in the heart of Wiltshire, it's really difficult to get a good overtake on, but Ed Hayes is not giving up. He is pushing and charging Richard Avery as they work their way up their stretch towards Camp Corner. Out through around the outside. You can go around the outside, but you have to be incredibly brave. Avery is not going to let him get through. So they come over the start-finish line once again, and now Southgate is closer to both of them. But Hayes is definitely swarming all over the back of Richard Avery. He wants to get through. Southgate's got a good run on both of them. Hayes goes left. That's where Avery sends him. Where is Southgate? Hayes is passing. Hayes is going through, but is Southgate going through as well? Can Avery hold it on the inside line? And Hayes has done it on the outside line of the braking zone for Quarry Corner, and he takes the lead. Now Southgate is going to try and do the same move on Richard Avery down to the S's. Again, he has to go the long way round because that's where Avery sends him, and that's allowing Hayes to get away already. This incredible run in the season from Ed Hayes is just continuing as he has won all but 2 of the races in this year's campaign. The man who beat him on those 2 occasions was Adam Southgate, once at Cadwell and once at Snetterton. But now Richard Avery wants to be a race winner, and I'm afraid at the moment it looks as if Ed Hayes is getting away. Cracking start from Richard Avery, but then when was the last time Ed Hayes got a good start? That's what's got him in, and there is Coleman bringing the car into the pits to retire. So obviously that spin has caused more damage than he realised. That's a real shame. Having banged it on pole position, he got a poor start, and then his race unravelled from there at Quarry Corner. Hopefully we'll see him back up to his best in the second race. Right, so it's Hayes leading, Avery second, Southgate third, then further back it's Hull and Molyneux with Archer there in sixth position. I believe that Andrew Porter is making steady progress to work his way back into seventh position, whereas Gary Lawrence will need to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, Adam Southgate is putting pressure on Richard Avery, twitchy under braking for Quarry as they get back on the power. It's going to be an interesting one as they make their way up towards the S's once again. And still this battle wages between the two of them. Into the braking zone, right, left, and out through the flickered Old Paddock Bend. Southgate still looking incredibly racy in the early stages here. Those dark clouds looming overhead. If they break, then this is going to be one slippery racetrack very, very quickly. Here comes Southgate, looking to the outside line. Avery's defending that inside line through Tower with all his might. Up towards Bobby's, it'll be a right-left flick at the chicane. And look, Ed Hayes is already stretching out the advantage out in front. Right, left, up and over the curbs, and Molyneux is closing up on Nick Hull at the same time in their battle over fourth position. Look at Avery, he's just defending to the inside line. He doesn't have any confidence in his ability to pull away from Adam Southgate, so he's just blocking wherever he possibly can. Now, he's entitled to hold that inside line, no problem at all, because that means that Southgate has to go the long way round, but he's not being a dodgy driver by doing this. Southgate's got good power out of the final turn. He's got a good draw, and now he's going to make the pass as they go through Avon Rise. Southgate is through in a second position. Nicely done. Good defending from Avery, but good auxiliary power from Southgate, who now runs deep at Quarry. Catch it, catch it. Oh, that was close. And he's going to lose second position again, unless he can keep the speed up. Can he go to the high side through the S's? No, he has to give the position back. Hull is still fourth, in front of Molyneux in fifth. Archer in sixth position, not far away. But Nick Hull doing a grand job to keep Kevin Molyneux at bay, who is getting faster and faster as the season progresses. And here at Castle Combe, he really does seem to have a good car underneath him. In qualifying, there was nothing to choose between those two. Nick Hull did a 1:16.804. Molyneux did a 1:16.862. So that's less than a tenth of a second between them in terms of their best lap times. Great to see such an even playing field in this championship. And it's a similar story between Avery and Southgate. Avery's best time was a 1:15.560. Southgate's was a 1:15.596. And now he's going to go round the outside. Beautifully done. He got the run out of Bobby's and has made the move before they even get to the apex for Camp Corner. That's really impressive. But now Avery can start himself behind Southgate and repeat the move down into Quarry if he can just get the momentum. But look at that. Southgate is on the gas very early out of Camp Corner. And as they go through Folly, up over Avon Rise, Southgate has well and truly got the place nailed as they lap one of the 924s, who actually goes off onto the grass and retires. So that's one of the 924s pulling off the road. So we've got a retirement there. It'll be yellow flags through Quarry. So Molyneux won't be able to make the move on Nick Hull just yet for fourth position. Hayes is disappearing out in front, as he has done so many times already this season. But it's Hayes from Southgate and Avery, and it looks as though that's the way it's going to stay. We're on board with Nick Hull in fourth position. Behind us is Kevin Molyneux as they zoom out through Old Paddock Bend, down towards Tower Corner, and it's starting to drizzle. This is where things can get very interesting. Nick Hull parks his car in the middle of the race circuit. He's not on the inside, he's not on the outside. That's just about the best position to put the car at the moment, squeezing Molyneux from going to the inside line by parking his car in the middle of the racetrack. Molyneux can't pick a way to go, and that's how to get this position won. Rain getting heavier, you can see that on the windscreen as we ride on board with the York Millennium Windows car, the 66, emblazoned in the Union flag. Out through the final turn. Kevin Molyneux still pressuring Nick Hull though as they come off of Camp Corner and down the straight once again. Angus Archer closing in as much as he can. So as he continues to put pressure on, the yellow flags are waving for the parked car on the outside of Quarry Corner. One of the 924s it is that's in dire jeopardy, having retired from the race. Just need to double check who it is. It's the 11 that's pulled off. That's Andrew Pritchard, I'm afraid. So Pritchard's race comes to an end at Quarry. It's just a mechanical problem, nothing major. but it's certainly enough to end his first race. Hopefully they'll get it repaired in time for race 2. Up and over the curbs at the S's and round Old Paddock Bend. Nick Hull versus Kevin Molyneux. Once again stepping up. Still drizzle in the air, but it's not heavy yet. So this won't affect their grip so much at the moment. It's not heavy enough to warrant a need for wet tyres, and they're certainly not going to want to do that in this race. It takes forever to change tyres in these cars. So if it rains, there's a very genuine chance we could get a red flag here. We hope that's not going to be the case. Ed Hayes runs behind Richard Matthews and is going to get a lap on the 924. That's the difference in speed between the two classes. You've just got a brilliant representation of it right there. Through Folly, through the right flick, down the stretch, up over Avon Rise. Tricky here, the bumps can really catch you out if you're not prepared for it. Look how much the car travels as he gets down to the braking zone. He puts the car in the middle of the circuit, draws across to the right, grabs the inside line, and then just sticks the car out to the outside line on the exit, and that's a slide for Southgate. He catches the car and is there, but Avery is a long way back. I think he's had an incident as well. So Southgate is able to return to the track in second place without losing a position. Thank goodness for that as far as Adam Southgate is concerned. But that was close. You nearly lose it at Quarry, and it's very difficult to find anything except the barriers at that point. So good save by Adam Southgate. Probably the save of the season in that particular part of the track. Kevin Molyneux still pressurising Nick Hull. They continue this battle all the way round the lap, and this is going to be tricky to hang on to for Nick Hull, but he knows it. He's been here 100 times before, and he knows where to defend. Castle Combe, though, is a tricky circuit, and he will know that the middle of the circuit is just about the best place to be. But as you can see on the windscreen, the rain is getting heavier, and time is running out. It's now or never for Nick Hull. Welcome back to Castle Combe. It's the Toyo Tires BRSCC Porsche Championship. Jake Sanson with you, and this is an incredible battle so far, and it's only getting tighter as they make their way through the S's. Nick Hull in the Union flag car, and Kevin Molyneux in the bright yellow and black machine, looking to try and make their way through in a fourth position. He's swarming around all over the place. Nick Hull is squeezing him in the middle of the circuit, trying to make him second guess which direction to go. Does he go left? Does he go right? And as they make their way through Tower Corner up towards Bobby's, it's still not sure where Kevin Molyneux is going to go. Hull makes him move to the left-hand side. Perfect positioning for Bobby's. And as they go through the chicane, they've got Angus Archer not far away. The rain is getting heavier, so Nick Hull has got to be very careful how he defends. He's got to be so careful in the braking zones in particular. That's where the cars can lock up in the drizzly conditions. And he goes deep through Camp Corner, and Kevin Molyneux is right on him. He's got a faster line out of the turn, so Nick Hull might be vulnerable here. But he gets on the power quickly as they go down through Folly to complete another lap and begin another one up and over Avon Rise. And again, look, Nick Hull is having to be very careful as the drizzle increases. That's Andrew Pritchard's car parked up on the left-hand side. The 924 drivers race sadly over. But Kevin Molyneux swarming all over the back of Nick Hull to try and get through. And Angus Archer is not a million miles away in sixth position. And he's being caught by Gary Lawrence, who spun off on the first couple of corners of the race up at Quarry with James Coleman. He's recovered to seventh place, so Gary Lawrence is not done yet. Molyneux gets a good exit out of Old Paddock Bend and is trying to squeeze his way through, but this man is on the last lap looking for yet another victory in what is proving to be a dominant season in the 2017 Championship. He has won all but 2 races so far this year. He lost the race at Cadwell Park to Adam Southgate and did so again at Snetterton, but other than that, he has been on the top step of the podium every single time in 2017, having got the best of the deal, although you could say his season is 85% polished. He's great at winning races, but his starts still leave a lot to be desired. But he gives us a bit of a Lightning McQueen sizzle by doing that. He has to work his way through the field in the first few laps to get up from sometimes as low as 5th or 6th position it's been in the past to work his way back to the lead. But Hayes has done that again today. And even now that the rain is starting to come down relatively heavy now, he is still in a good position to get this job done. He just needs to be careful. Through Tower Corner he goes, and up towards Bobby's. Into the right, into the left. He's going to lap Richard Matthews as he comes through this time by. And look, you can see how much the rain is coming down. You can barely see through the wet patches on the car, on the windscreen. but down into Camp Corner for the final time. He will turn into the right-hander, and Ed Hayes is going to be victorious at every single racetrack he's raced at this year. Another victory for Ed Hayes in the 2017 season. Southgate not far away from him, despite that big slide at Quarry a few laps ago. And here is the battle in the 924s, battle coming towards us between Gavin Johnson and that is the 26 of Bernie Printy. But through comes the battle for fourth position, and Gary Lawrence is going to beat Kevin Molyneux to the line. So Nick Hull comes through in fourth. Kevin Molyneux eventually ends up in sixth position behind Lawrence. So it's Hayes, Southgate and Avery. Hull is fourth from Gary Lawrence and Kevin Molyneux, with Archer and Porter. James Coleman retiring after just 2 laps.
Ed, not a fantastic start there, but you managed to make it up by lap 3.
Yeah, never get good starts. Richie got a really good start. A few people had little issues. Coleman, I saw, he came off pretty quick. So and then I think he had a clutch problem, so he pulled in. Adam went off behind me when he was quite close. And Rich had sort of some kind of engine clipping back problem when he gets a bit hot. So, as I was saying to the other guy, it's like a few issues for the rest that let me get a bit of a stretch on them. But yeah, it was good fun.
And importantly, come away with a victory and some more points in the championship.
Yeah, it's great. Keep plugging away and see if we get there in the end.
Fantastic. Well done. Look forward to speaking to you after the next race.
Thanks very much.
Adam, a tough start to the race. You managed to come back through for second, but weren't really able to challenge Ed further up the field.
Yeah, it was a really busy start. I had a better start than Ed, got round us outside, but that put me around the outside of Quarry, and it's really slippery there. So that dropped me back to, I think, third. A bit of a tangle in behind me. I think Coleman had a bit of a bad start as well. And then, yeah, Ed just cleared Richard a little bit quicker than me. Made a couple of mistakes and couldn't really chase him down, but pace is in the car. So next race, front row with Ed, see what we can do.
The cars are lining up to go out for the second race of the weekend in the Toyo Tires Porsche Championship. Pip Hammond leading the 924 class, but most importantly, it's Bernie here in third place on the grid. Bernie, fantastic race yesterday. Do you think you can catch up with the guys in front?
Well, I'm going to do my best. Yeah, they're going pretty well, these two, but I'll do my very best to keep up with them. We'll see how we go.
I understand Gavin, who's been training you, starting at the back of the grid, and his aim is to catch up with you before the end of the race. What do you feel about that?
I think he's going to get pretty close pretty quick if I know him.
Well, let's see how the second race plays out. Ed Hayes and Adam Southgate are on the front row of the grid, with Nick Hull and Gary Lawrence on the second row. Kevin Molyneux is alongside Angus Archer on row 3, with Andrew Porter alongside the former pole sitter James Coleman. Richard Avery's got a new car for this race. He needs a spare, or his other one broke down. Pip Hammond and Gavin Johnson are on the front row of the 924s, from Printy, Callender, Matthews, Pert, Pritchard and Lowry, with Matthew Harris at the back in the production class. Here we go, racing at Castle Combe, and Gary Lawrence has stalled it! Lawrence has stalled it! Thank goodness, it looks as though everybody's just about going to make their way through without hitting him. But that was very close indeed for Lawrence. Goodness me, heart-stopping moment indeed as he now surges his way through the field. We're on board with Bernie Printy, and here comes Gary Lawrence storming his way through the field. Out of my way, buckos, I've got a race to win. Southgate leads, Hayes second, Molyneux third, Archer fourth. Then it is Nick Hull and Richard Avery in his spare car, which is now silver and navy blue. On board with Nick Hull as he closes up on Kevin Molyneux, and that looks like Coleman pulling off. Coleman in the middle of your shot is pulling off the road. What a disastrous weekend this is turning out to be for James Coleman. Pole position in the first race, and ever since that spin in race 1 at Quarry, his weekend has been going completely and totally to pot. Now, here are the BDC racing cars. Power Distribution Control Racing. Pip Hammond we're on board with. That is Gavin Johnson behind us. And these two are looking to get as many clean sweeps through the season as possible. Callender is third, Pert is fourth, and in fifth position in the class, that looks like the 26 of Bernie Printy. Hammond is having to defend big time from Gavin Johnson, who is making massive progress in this season. Now here comes Richard Avery to the right of Kevin Molyneux, going to try and sweep through to Camp Corner, and he gets the job done. So no blue and green machine in this race for Richard Avery. He's had to take the spare car, which has been sourced for him at very short notice, but thank goodness it means his championship is not over and done. I think if he'd had to miss the start of the race, missed a race or two, that really would have been curtains. Now Gary Lawrence needs a new windscreen, because if you look at that, a stone or something has hit it, so he's going to get a new windscreen hopefully for the next race of the season. But Lawrence is through and past Angus Archer, so he makes the move. Archer's trying to come back at him though. He goes alongside and then finally decides, enough, I'm going to have to back down. So Avery is up into third position in front of Hull, Molyneux, Lawrence, Archer and Andrew Porter in eighth position. Coleman I'm afraid, is out of the race again. Now, our race leaders are battling away. Southgate leading with Ed Hayes in second. So Ed Hayes in second position, running up to the back of Southgate, trying to make his way through. Good battling in this race so far. But Southgate just can't let this man through at the moment. We're on board with Nick Hull as he chases after Richard Avery. Fourth position again is on the offing for Nick Hull. But here come the leaders, Southgate and Hayes, then Avery, Hull, Molyneux, Lawrence, Archer and Porter. The 924s, it still looks like Hammond and Johnson from Callender, Pert and Printy. But Ed Hayes has now got a really good run down the straight and up through Folly, up over Avon Rise. He's going to do the same move he did earlier on. The car twitches as he goes over the bumps, but Southgate commits to it. Southgate is going to try and get him back on the inside line. Hayes is going to run out wide. Look, they're giving each other plenty of space, and round the outside, Southgate is going to finish the move. Nick Hull's made a mistake, and Gary Lawrence is going to go through, and so too is Kevin Molyneux. So Hull is down to 6th. Southgate has held the lead from Ed Hayes, and that means that Richard Avery is now catching them. Great racing at Castle Combe. Southgate goes off, and Avery goes with him. Surely that's going to be Southgate through into the lead. Oh, sorry, Hayes through into the lead. Yes, it is. Ed Hayes takes the lead, and Southgate drops back to second. Big mistake for Southgate as they ran through Old Paddock Bend and down to Tower. Now they make the run up to Bobby's, and that's a critical mistake for Southgate because it now gives the lead of the race to Ed Hayes. And now that he's in the lead, considering his form in 2017, I'm not sure any of the others. We'll see which way he went. So Lawrence is in 4th position behind our leading trio. Molyneux is 5th, Nick Hull is 6th, and then we have the likes of Archer and Porter, with James Coleman once again a frustrated spectator on the sidelines. Now Avery's going to try and make a go at Southgate. He's going to have to work very hard indeed to get there. But Richard Avery in 3rd position, going full guns blazing to do the best he can. Now here's Nick Hull. He draws alongside Kevin Molyneux. Molyneux squeezes him and makes him back out of it. Great defensive driving from Molyneux. Here's Southgate, who's had 2 big slip-ups in the last 2 races, including this one. Now Nick Hull's got a good run at Molyneux, down to S's. Can he make it through on the right-hand side? He's got to commit. Beautiful. And he left plenty of space on the inside line, so Molyneux is a thing of the past. Beautiful move from Nick Hull, and he's up into 5th position, sorry. Gary Lawrence is still there in P4. So Hayes, Southgate, Avery, Lawrence, Hull, Molyneux, Archer and Porter is the order. Up through Bobby's again. And it looks good for Ed Hayes out in front of the race. Southgate in 2nd position trying to catch him. The battle for 5th position is very tight between Hull, Molyneux and Archer, with Andrew Porter trying to stay in touch. But some great battles through this race again. It always is tight and twisty in the BRSCC Porsche Championship. And those Toyo tyres are gripping the road beautifully in these cool conditions. This is about as good as it's going to get for the drivers this weekend. It's been a very miserable weekend in terms of weather, but cool, despite being dry, is better than if the rain comes back. On board with Nick Hull. Watch as he comes over Avon Rise. It's very bumpy. You've got to pick your braking point just right. And a flick of the grass there from Kevin Molyneux as Angus Archer tries to close up on him. I have a feeling this 4th position, 5th position battle is only going to get better, although Gary Lawrence has dropped these guys and is now closing up on Richard Avery. So it's up to Nick Hull to hang on to 5th position with the charging talents of Kevin Molyneux, Angus Archer and Andrew Porter still very close to him, and there's still a lot to play for in this race. It's going to be very close. So the battle continues here at Castle Combe with Kevin Molyneux in front of Angus Archer and Andrew Porter. Now we're hearing reports that there's going to be a penalty handed out to the 45 of Adam Southgate. That's the man who's running 2nd on the road. And we think it is for, I'll double check, but I think it's for a false start. So he's going to be given a 10-second penalty. And we're hearing as well that there are penalties that are going to be handed out for the 6 of Richard Avery, the 93 of Gary Lawrence, and potentially to Nick Hull and Angus Archer. Now that is all because of track limits, which of course are very much at a premium here at Castle Combe. So a few drivers exceeding track limits. Now, depending on how many of those drivers get those penalties, it shouldn't cause too much of an issue. But Adam Southgate's in particular is quite important because he's running second position on the road in front of Lawrence and Avery, who are battling away over third. But if those two continue to scrap away over third position, Adam Southgate may lose his second position here. 10 seconds is a lot to lose on a start line infringement, so he may actually find himself way down the order, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But Ed Hayes works his way past Gavin Johnson to lap him as he continues his magnificent charge to yet another victory here at Castle Combe. But who is going to be second? I'm not sure it's going to be Adam Southgate, because I think he's going to lose too much time in the battle for that second place. We look back and he's dropped a long way back off the 77 of Ed Hayes, so he's lost a lot of time. And we continue to battle on here at Castle Combe. Now this is the battle for third place on the road, but that could be the battle for second place in the race. Gary Lawrence is running in third position and Avery's all over the back of him. So Richard Avery's going to try and come by. He goes left, he then chucks back into the right-hand side. Lawrence shuts the door. And as they get down to the braking zone for Quarry, he's going to have to be very careful. He cuts across to the inside line. The back end is coming through. Steps out. Careful, Gary. Hold it together. The back end comes out again. And somehow he stops the car spinning. My goodness, what a save from Gary Lawrence. At Quarry, you are almost guaranteed to be connecting with the barriers. And somehow he avoided it. What a save. So Richard Avery's gone through and Gary Lawrence continues in fourth position, although if Adam Southgate is going to get that 10-second penalty for a false start, then it will become third. So we'll have to keep an eye on what happens on the timing screens. Gary Lawrence rejoining in fourth place. Here's Pip Hammond, and that is Ed Hayes behind us, about to lap us. The class leaders do battle briefly on the circuit, but the 924 class is a lot different in terms of its speed compared to the Boxster class. Incredible to think that this is the 25th anniversary of the Porsche 924, and there's a very special race that's going to be happening on the 30th of September, bringing together all of the 924s that are in race spec in the country, we hope. Now there's yellow flags waving on the run to Folly. That looks like Jamie Callender has pulled off the road. That's a real shame if it is. So Callender will now have to work his way through the field in the third race. Here's Andrew Porter. We're on board with him at the moment. Now, the two drivers in front of him, yeah, it is Callender off to the left-hand side. The two drivers in front of him, Angus Archer and Kevin Molyneux, are both, we think, going to be given 5-second penalties for track limits. Now, that's going to promote Andrew Porter, by my mathematics, to, well, potentially 6th, but if Southgate continues to have a couple of poor laps, it could be as high as 5th for Andrew Porter, which is pretty much where he would start. Well, he'd start 4th, actually, because the last grid of the day is a reverse grid, and with James Coleman retiring, he will start 9th whatever happens. But that means that Ed Hayes is going to start 8th on the starting grid if he continues to lead this race and then take the win. He comes into Camp Corner, and the last lap board goes out. So one more time around for the Castle Combe dominator. Ed Hayes looking good once again here for yet another victory in what is a giant crushing 2017 campaign. Bring back Rick Styron, I say. It'd be great to see what those two would be like going head-to-head for the remainder of the 2017 season. Here's Andrew Porter closing up on Angus Archer and Kevin Molyneux, and we hear they are both being given 5-second penalties for track limits. So that means that the 33, Andrew Porter, will finish behind them on the road, but on the timing sheets, he will actually be ahead of them. So he doesn't even need to pass Kevin Molyneux, although he is going to go for it. Looks to the right. I don't think so, Sunshine. Molyneux holds him at bay, but Ed Hayes is going to win. And Southgate has been given that 10-second penalty. He is going to be given that 10-second penalty. Now, that's a disaster, because that means he will finish, by my calculations, he will be classified as 8th position. Now, the advantage of that is that he will get pole position for the third race with his chief rival, Ed Hayes, down in 8th. But that's points lost in the championship for Adam Southgate. But, well, silver linings and all that. He will start pole for the third race, but this man is going to make it 2 wins out of 2. Ed Hayes comes out of the final turn, takes the checkered flag, and wins yet again here at Castle Combe. But Ed Hayes is going to be the winner from Richard Avery, I do believe, in second place, as Pip Hammond takes the win in the 924 class in front of Gavin Johnson and Ryan Lowry. But Avery is second as he beats Gary Lawrence over the line, and it's going to be Southgate down in 8th position, despite what it says on the timing screens. Once the penalties are added, it's Hayes from Avery and Lawrence. Pip Hammond wins from Gavin Johnson and Ryan Lowry, with Matthews, Bernie Printy and Hugh Pert in the 924s, Canada and Pritchard out of the race.
Pip, this is almost becoming habitual speaking to you in the winner's circle.
Yeah, well, I enjoy it. I don't know about you, or these guys. Yeah, it's been good. Gavin pushed me a lot harder there, especially at the start, and he's a lot closer on the times as well. I think we're well within a second now, so all bodes well for the reverse grid race, especially with Ryan getting going again and his team doing a good job getting the car ready. It should be fun, all three of us coming through from the back.
Fantastic. We're certainly looking forward to that, Gavin. Very close there at the start.
Yeah, it was first couple of laps. I think there was a couple of opportunities, and much quicker than race one, so looking forward to the reverse grid.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how you can hold him back.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure he bogged down at the start, gives a chance, and then we'll all have a bit of fun. Looking forward to it.
And Ryan did exactly what you said you were going to do, come through on the podium. What a great race.
Yeah, I mean, after yesterday, obviously the cam snapped in two, so to get the car ready, Clive at Maluto did a great job and, got the car ready. Car seems to run okay and, came through the field on the first lap and couldn't catch these guys there. That was that.
Philip, it's great to speak to you and get a chance to talk to you about the Porsche 924s and the championship, which is 25 years old this year. I can't believe that.
I know, it's fantastic. And back in the day, they had entries so large they had to split the race into two, for over 40 cars. And obviously as the cars have got older, it's obviously the fields are diminished, and we're trying to just recreate that sort of size of field on the 30th of September at Donington.
That's going to be an amazing race. As you say, if you can get as many of the 924s out there for that, it would be really great. And obviously you want people to come along and see the racing as well. Yeah, I mean, with a field that big, there's going to be battles going on throughout the field. And so, yeah, there should be some really close action.
Thanks to Philip Waters, talking about that race on the 30th of September for the 924s. Adam Southgate is on pole position alongside Angus Archer, with Nick Hull and Andrew Porter on the second. Molyneux, Lawrence, Avery and two-race winner Ed Hayes, with James Coleman meant to be ninth, but his car has failed to make the grid, I'm afraid to say. Pert and Printy are on the front row of the 924 class, with Matthews, Lowry, Johnson, Hammond, Callender, Pritchard and Matthew Harris in the production class. Here we go, now watch this as the leaders in each of the classes storm their way forward. Lowry's trying to get alongside Bernie Printy. This is the front row of the grid in the 924s, and it's already getting eaten in the Boxster class. Here we go, is that Pip Hammond through to the front already? Pip Hammond has done it again in the 924 class. He's shot from the back of the grid to the front. Amazing. From the third row of the 924 class, he's through. Brian Lowry's got through, so too is Hugh Pert. So Pert is second, Lowry is third in the 924s. Up to fourth comes Gavin Johnson, past us. So Bernie Printy has to settle for being fifth position at the moment. Southgate leads. Lawrence is second in the Boxster class. Then it's Hull, Avery, Molyneux and Ed Hayes in sixth position from Archer and Porter. What an incredible start. I always love the reverse grid race. It gives us no end of action on the first lap. Southgate is already trying to break away. That penalty in race 2 has definitely given him a chance to win race 3. So every cloud has a silver lining, and speaking of silver clouds, look overhead. It's going to start getting very cool again, especially if we get wet conditions. It sounded like Nick Hull just missed a gear shift there, so he's got to be very careful that he doesn't hash the gearbox as Matthew Harris works his way through the 924 grid in the lone production class car. Always interesting to see where he can finish in the end of races on the road. So through comes Kevin Molyneux on the back of Nick Hull. A big slide from Ed Hayes as he comes out of cab corner, and they go down the straight. Through Folly, Ed Hayes is lining up Kevin Molyneux for a move. He doesn't want to spend too much time working his way through the field because Adam Southgate is already in the lead. Here he goes! Goodness me! Ed Hayes absolutely baptised. Keeps the car flat on the throttle when Molyneux is thinking about braking. And that's how he makes his way through. Beautifully done, and up into P5, chasing down the Union flag car of Nick Hull. So it's Southgate, Lawrence, Avery, Hull, Hayes and Molyneux. It doesn't sound too different from a normal race now after just one lap, as Avery swarms over the back of Gary Lawrence. This battle was already pretty good in the second race. I have a feeling it could be even better here in the third. Southgate leads. Avery's going the long way round as they go up towards Tower corner. He'll have the inside line for Tower. He's going to assert himself on the inside. Lawrence is going to hang back and try to get the switch back. Avery goes wide and onto the grass, and Lawrence gets the place back and brings the car onto the road just in front of Nick Hull, and somehow gets the car stopped. But Gary Lawrence, that was a big grin on his face, I'm sure, as he watched Avery run off the road. He takes the place back. He even puts his hand out the window. Cheers, boy. Cheers, mate. I'm off. So Gary Lawrence up in a second position on the second lap of the race. And Nick Hull is now swarming all over the back of Richard Avery. This is a good run for Gary Lawrence. He was very patient there behind Avery, picked up the pieces, and is now up into P2. But P3 is up for grabs, and Nick Hull knows it. He's going to swarm on the back of Avery. Watch out, though. Here comes Ed Hayes up the inside into Quarry. Hull shuts the door, though. Don't even think about it. Brilliant battling in the early stages here at Castle Combe. And now Hull is on the attack for Richard Avery. I'm on it, mate. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to have to hang back into the S's, through the right-hander, the left-hander, and up the sweep through Old Paddock Bend. This is great battling in the mid-pack already. Ed Hayes still trying to come through into fourth position, and he needs to do it quickly because Adam Southgate is becoming an invisible dot in the distance. He wants to win 3 out of 3. Welcome back to Castle Combe. Jake Sanson with you. It's the Toyo Tires BRSCC Porsche Championship, the third race, the reverse grid race. And Ed Hayes has made his way up the order. Oh, Nick Hull's pulling off. Nick Hull's pulling off. His race is over. What a disaster for Nick Hull. Or is there just the problem with the car that he needs to fix and bring back onto the circuit? We'll double check, but things look grim for Nick Hull. If he can get the car moving again, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But Nick Hull's chances of getting the podium in this race are well and truly over. Back to the 924 class. That is Bernie Printy, who started this race from the front row, is now trying to chase down, I think, Hugh Pert in the 36 car. The PDC racing cars are well and truly got. Now there's steam coming off the front of Nick Hull's car. The mechanics and his team are all on it. They double check and send him back on his way. So Nick Hull is not going to lose a massive quantity of time. He's going to rejoin right in front of Matthew Harris in the production Boxster class, who overtake him initially, but it won't be too long before Nick Hull gets back through, provided that the car is working okay. Black and white flag for track limits. That is Nick Hull, the 66. So I'm guessing the reason he came into the pits was because he got damage from going off the road, which is what caused the track limits warning in the first place. Bernie Printy, look at that bonnet. It looks as though it's coming loose. I hope it doesn't go loose, honestly. That would be a very big moment in this race. Second position, this is the battle. Out in front, Adam Southgate leads the way. Avery trying to defend from Ed Hayes in third as they battle away for position. Gary Lawrence in second, Avery third, Hayes is fourth, but not for long. Not if Avery's got something to say about it, though. Avery storms across, and across, and across! Goodness me! That was big defending, and look what it's done. You can see the damage to Avery's car as he shuts the door on Ed Hayes, and Hayes will not be happy with that. He now storms for a way through on the S's. He looks right, looks left, can't find a way through, but definitely a big dent on the bumper now for Avery's car. That's his second car of the weekend, of course, don't forget. He's already broken one. He doesn't want to bend another one. And Kevin Molyneux is trying to close up on Ed Hayes as a result of not being able to get past Avery. So Southgate leads, Lawrence second, Avery, Hayes, Molyneux, and further back is Angus Archer in front of Andrew Porter. Nick Hull is now in 8th position, I can tell you. He's working his way back through. Gary Lawrence now closing up on one of the 924s to overtake. That looks like Pritchard. It is, so he laps Andrew Pritchard, no problem at all. No retirements from this race so far, so the reliability is much better. And as the drivers work their way through, it's going to be a really interesting development to this race as they continue to work their way around. But Southgate is now under pressure from Avery, so Hayes has had to back out of it for a lap or two. Avery's going to keep that car firmly planted on the throttle and storm past Lawrence. Is he? No, Lawrence shuts the door. Southgate's long gone. Hayes is able to close up big time on the two of them under braking for Quarry. They're both pretty tentative in the braking zone there. So that's allowed Ed Hayes to gain a lot of ground, but Adam Southgate looks as though he's going to take his third win of the season after Cadwell and Snetterton he will get his third win of the season to keep the championship alive. So round Old Paddock Bend, down towards Tower, come the battle for second position. Oh, and look at this, Avery's now got a good run on Lawrence again, up the inside. Lawrence shuts the door before he even gets there. And Hayes is now challenging to get past Avery. Avery tucks out wide, cuts back across. This is almost touring car grade battling, these three. Now there's Adam Southgate lapping the back markers in the 924s, so he's happy as Larry out in the lead. And then we've got these four scrapping for second. Lawrence, Avery, Hayes and Molyneux. And Hayes looks for the inside. Avery shuts the door. Up towards Camp Corner once again. And over the line. Now watch what Ed Hayes does over the line here. He's going to get right in the slipstream of Avery. Avery's attacking Southgate. Attacking Lawrence. And at the same time, Ed Hayes is going to try and attack both of them. What if he gets the sweep on both of them? Avery alongside Lawrence. He's going to get second position this time. They both have to break. Lawrence is back on the inside of Avery through Quarry. He's got good grip. Where's Avery? He's left him enough space, and it looks as though Lawrence has held on to that second position. Hayes is now alongside Avery. Is he? No. Avery is trying to get back alongside Lawrence. Oh my word, it's very close between these four. Avery drifts wide. Hayes can't quite get a move on the inside line. He wasn't quite alongside enough. Kevin Molyneux's now right on the tail of these guys. This is amazing. All it takes is for Ed Hayes to start at the back of the grid and Southgate to start at the front, and we've got an amazing battle here at Castle Combe as they work their way through back markers in the 924s. Past Bernie Print, past you, Bert, having to dart one way to the next to try and scoot through without losing too much time. This is what's great about this championship. And Avery is now swarming to the left-hand side of Gary Lawrence. Can he make the way through up towards Camp? Lawrence is going to have to go back to the inside. Avery dives for the inside line. Lawrence doesn't know he's there, and Avery storms through into second place. He shuts the door on Ed Hayes. But what a move from Richard Avery. He made Lawrence think he wasn't going to make the move, then darted for the inside. And now Hayes is going to get through as well, is he? Lawrence keeps his foot in. Hayes draws alongside and takes the place. Lawrence has to back down. What a move from Richard Avery. That's one of the passing moves of the season as he gets up into second place. Ed Hayes is now third, Lawrence fourth, and Molyneux fifth. And Molyneux is not far away from making the challenge on Gary Lawrence himself as they lap. That is Richard Matthews. Into the S's. And second is Avery, third is Hayes, fourth is Lawrence, and fifth is Kevin Molyneux. Adam Southgate is long go. Adam Southgate is long gone, sorry. I'm running out of puff here. Second place, Richard Avery in front of Ed Hayes. Then it is Gary Lawrence, still sliding around a little bit. They're working the tyres so hard here as they battle away for position. But the track is cool enough that they should be able to continue on in good stead. But oh, that's a spin from Harris. That's a big one. 1, 2, 3. 3 times. That's a 3-time spin with Pike there for Harris. Now, can he get the car started again? Or are we going to need a safety car? We're going to get yellow flags. So Avery's going to hesitate a little bit. Hayes is going to have an opportunity to get the run on him. Here we go, green flags. So this is going to be fine for Hayes. Avery's got to shut the door. Shut the door. Hayes is still coming. Oh, good defensive driving from Avery. Keeps it planted on the brakes. Parks it to the inside line for Quarry. You're not coming through, Ed. Haven't you got the message yet? Ed Hayes still working hard to try and get up in a second position to minimise the damage from losing, well, from starting from the back in race 3, I should say. He's won 2 races. He wants to win a third, but he won't do that, but he might get second place. They lap Gavin Johnson, still running second in the 924 class. Kevin Molyneux has now dropped back off these 3. So he may well pick up a few places if things kick off, and it might kick off as Ed Hayes again tightens up his grip on Avery. But as he defends, Lawrence gets closer, so Hayes needs to make this overtaking move, and he needs to make it quickly. Back on board with the Dodden Thornton car of Gary Lawrence. He's tightened right up to the back of Ed Hayes in the chicane. Hayes parks his car firmly on the inside line. Lawrence swarms around again, and Avery has broken clear by a few car lengths, but that gap will disappear. But the difference is, the question is Hayes going to drag Lawrence along with him? Last lap, it's now or never for Ed Hayes as they come across the line. Chasing down Richard Avery, Gary Lawrence in 4th place. Adam Southgate is going to win this race if he continues on his pace out in front. There he is, lights ablaze, and Southgate is looking good for his 3rd win of the season. But is this going to be a battle royale for 2nd position further back? Let's have a look and see where the 2nd place battle is at. Well, I was hoping we could, but Southgate is looking absolutely supreme out in front. A sublime race this from Southgate, impeded by that penalty for a false start in the 2nd race, but that put him on the back of the grid. Well, that put him in 8th place, which was the front of the grid for race 3. Oh, look at this, Avery and Hayes again. And again, there's a little bit of rubbing there as Hayes gets underneath that Richard Avery. I want this 2nd place, mate. I am coming through. Don't even think about it, says Richard Avery. As here comes Adam Southgate. He finishes the weekend in beautiful style into Camp Corner for the last time, and it's a win for Adam Southgate. The championship battle is still very much alive and kicking, and Southgate is delighted with that win. 2nd position, who's going to get it? Surely it's going to be Avery. Hayes is going to try one more time. If Avery slips up in the final turn, he'll get him, but he doesn't, so Avery is 2nd. Hayes is 3rd, Lawrence is 4th, and Kevin Molyneux comes across the line in 5th. What a battle. Not for Pip Hammond, though. He wins yet again, continuing that dominant streak in the 924 class. Nobody has won this class with such a dominant performance before, but he's on the way. Southgate wins from Avery, Hayes, Lawrence and Molyneux, with Archer in 6th, Porter in 7th, and Nick Hull recovers to 8th place in the end. Fastest lap, Adam Southgate. It's a victory again for Pip Hammond, this time in front of Ryan Lowry, with Johnson 3rd ahead of Matthews, Burt, Brinty and Pritchard. Fastest lap, Pip Hammond. Who else?
Adam, fantastic lights to flag victory. You must be pretty pleased.
Yeah, not bad. It was pretty easy race with this little fighting behind me, so it's just a case of trying not to make mistakes. I made plenty of those this weekend, so nice to have just a clean race really to the finish.
Certainly looked like you were pulling out a bit of a lead early on in the race. Did it feel that way? Did you feel much pressure towards the end?
Yeah, the first couple of laps there was a bit of pressure with Gary Lawrence behind me, but then I kind of built a gap, so I started kind of playing and drifting around a couple of corners and having a bit of fun.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on the victory. Richard, that was a hard-fought race out there.
Really hard race, yeah. Probably the best race I've had, to be fair. Especially with Ed. It's nice to have Ed back at the back with us to have a little battle with him, because obviously he's normally at the front and gone. But yeah, excellent. It was a fantastic race, obviously with Gary as well, and tiny little scuff on the car, and yeah, all good.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. And Ed, even coming through from the reverse grid, you still managed to get a podium.
Yeah, it's been a really good race. Good fun to be in a big scrap, and yeah, Rich was good, defending well, and couldn't get around.
So after a gripping weekend at Castle Combe, Ed Hayes leads the championship by 25 points to Adam Southgate, with Richard Avery still in contention in 3rd place. Nick Hull, Gary Lawrence and Kevin Molyneux are giving chase, followed by Andrew Porter, Alex Stocker, Angus Archer and Gary Goodwin. In the 94 class, Pip Hammond leads the way by 36 points to teammate Gavin Johnson, with Ryan Lowry, Peter Smith, Carl Rossin and Philip Waters giving chase. The next round of the championship takes us to Anglesey in North Wales. I'm Jake Sanson. See you then.